Now
Wait, don't do that one.
I love you too, Chad.
It's the paper mache one.
There we go. Okay.
Perpendicular.
So I get a reading on here. My reading on this scale right here says 33. Okay?
How much?
33. It's just a value, 33. So does that mean 3,300?
It does not. And
Not necessarily. So what you will find on all the rebound hammers is they have this chart. Okay? And what you do is this is 0 degrees. So you go, you follow over to where it says 33, and then I go up to where it is 0 degrees, and it says
divide it by 2.
about 3,200 psi. Now remember, there's a 25% error in this. Okay? So I caused Chad to have a heart attack.
Did he get 4,000 or not?
I did.
I'm listening.
But
I'm
he
listening.
didn't have a stroke or anything either.
I'm curious.
Okay. Well, because I sent out an NOV and a letter telling somebody all the things they had to do to fix their system, and the owner had a stroke the day they got the letter. So I'm trying not to say it was me, but I'm a little paranoid now anytime I say something that's not good. Having a moment. So, 25%. I can't do the math in my head. I apologize.
The max is
You know
4,000.
what it is? Plus 4,000.
So 4,000 plus or minus 4,000 is roughly
4,000 be the top end.
top end. So it'd
But-
be if I take 25%, that's 800.
30 to 20 is 3,200 is
3,200.
4,000.
Okay, so we're right there. But that was just one reading. Okay, that was simply one reading. So what you do is one reading tells me exactly this one spot right. You can actually see that one spot right there. One reading is not enough. What we do is we do a total of 12 readings. We toss out the highest, we toss out the lowest, and we average the remaining 10. Because you're going to have pockets of gravel, you're going to have air pockets behind the surface, and so what I don't want to do is skew everything all on one reading, or not pay attention to the fact that it is an imperfect tank, and I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? It's
uniform.
Thank you. I like that uniform. It's not a perfectly uniform tank. It's not always, you're not going to have no air bubbles anywhere that we've hit it at or anything else. Okay? Does that kind of make sense to everybody? We understand this is imprecise, but then we also try to offset some of that by taking multiple readings, tossing out the highest, tossing out the lowest, and then average that. Now, I've had tank manufacturers, when I go out there, they go, oh, 33, and motor on. Like, no. Or they go, and they'll do it right in the middle, okay? Now, did you hear the echo? Okay? If you hear that echo, that means you do not have 6 inches of concrete behind that surface. So, if you hear that echo, you want to make sure that you're coming over here. Well,
So we're not supposed to shoot within 1 inch of where we shot before. 12 shots, and you need to try to put multiple shots on each side, on multiple sides, right?
That's
Supposed to
28.
work the tank around.
If it's meant for 6 inches, and we agree that it's not accurate but precise, is it the right tool?
No. But there's not another one.
it's the most inexpensive tool that we have. Anything else costs thousands of dollars. And I know we don't have the budget for it. I know most of the counties don't have the budget for it. And certainly with the way the rules are written now, it's kind of it's a little bit of a moot point. But I don't want us to lose using this because it can be a handy tool for us to kind of check strength if needed.
I can also see a precaster like Chad using it to build a trend over time, right?
Exactly.
He could kind of get a feel for, without paying for cylinder tests, maybe I can get a feel for how is this new mix design doing? Is it, whether or not that number was perfect with the rebound hammer before, am I growing strength over time? or did that mix design take me backwards? It could give you insight into your business without a ton of extra cost paying for cylinder brakes, right? What do
Yeah.
cylinder brakes cost you? What is that?
But they don't charge me because I buy the concrete.
You buy the concrete for them, okay.
They do them once every 30 days.
Okay.
Back home.
So why don't you just do that? Like if you do a concrete flat work project, like you do a mile of sidewalk, the spec will say test it every 500 feet. Somebody grabs some cylinders, take to the lab, because you're buying 4,000 psi mix from the plant. What he's doing is smart. It's completely inaccurate. If he keeps records of the mix he buys, which keeps the ready mix company in check, the majority of time
Correct.
you're going to get a 4,000 psi mix. That's what you're paying for.
Correct.
So you're doing a check on him every once in a while. That's the
And
better way.
he's got it because he's also buying it from somebody else, so they're taking it back and doing it. The problem also is we have a certain number of tank manufacturers who have their own ready mix plant.
Yep.
And so at that point then, if I said, well, you need to do the cylinders, as much as they like me, they would probably string me along. You know, it's a balance of whatever, and I can actually hear a couple of them saying to me, but Trish, if the inspectors just use the rebound hammer correctly, they'd be just fine. So what's happened to me, this has happened to me, I'll use names, it happened to me first with Jimmy Show. One of the first times I was at his yard, we were checking strength on some of his tanks, and I was using the rebound hammer. And the numbers were coming up lower than what Jimmy thought they should. So he said to me, he's like, Trish, he's like, how about letting me use the rebound hammer and you can take all the notes? I said, okay, all right, because he's thinking, ding dong here, is it using the rebound hammer correct? Well, as it turned out, he got the same numbers I did. Okay? Yes, sir.
Have you tested it with fiber and without fiber? Because it makes it stronger, but I have to assume it makes it show weaker on your
I know I've used it on both tanks that have been used with fiber and not with fiber, and I can't say that I ever noticed any difference.
I have been told that if you go from a shale aggregate to like the type of aggregate you use, you'll get a different rebound hammer number
I could make sense.
based on the hardness or softness of the aggregate that's
Yep.
used in there.
And so, you know, you could see Jimmy thinking I didn't know how to use it, but then he got the same readings I did. And then what was so funny is a couple years later, his sons Scott and Brad also have a tank yard. So I was out there checking their tank yard, and Scott didn't like the readings that again were coming up on my rebound hammer. So Scott again, it was so cute. He's like, "Hey Trish, how about I'll take and use it, and you go write down all the numbers." Thinking again, the girl doesn't know how to use the rebound hammer. Well, sure enough, he got the same type of numbers I was. So I don't look at this as an absolute, okay? And I would be very cautious to just base all my readings as well on one tank, because it could be it could be the hammer, it could be the tank, there could be a multitude of things. I also try, and I didn't do it this time, but I also try before I go to the tank yard to make sure that I check it on my anvil so that I know it's properly calibrated. So that if there's even the slightest chance that I'm gonna go out and have issues with the tank, I know I checked it right before I headed out of the office and I know it's properly calibrated.
Does it have to be calibrated by a third party?
Yeah, third party.
Yeah, normally DOT, or at least in the past, DOT would calibrate our hammers for us for free. I'm presuming they still will, but I gotta check that out.
Some of them you can buy a little, almost like self-calibration test.
You probably, yeah.